time across the blood-stained backs of poor black and poor brown bodies born in America, victims of blatant oppression and glaring disparities. One thing's for sure, though, Minnesota nights can really be nasty. How do you spell relief? When you continue to institutionalize inequality, when you continue to create public policy and laws that legislate racial bias, bigotry, and hate, as the gavel falls, let the pendulum swing today and forevermore towards social justice and freedom. North Minneapolis is going green. Give us a call and learn what we mean. Where once lie urban blight, now sits luscious garden sites. Gardens without borders, classrooms without walls. Architects of our own destinies, access to food, justice for all. And now, like sweet potato vines, our missions and goals now all intertwined. Good day. My name is Michael Cheney. I'm an activist, organizer, and the founder of Project Sweetie Pie, a small nonprofit in North Minneapolis that was started in 2010 in response to the threatened closing of North High. There were those in the community that felt that the school, primarily African American, had run its course and that it was time to shut it down. But myself and others in the community, we pushed back because we felt that the closing of the school is the killing of the heart of any community. And so in all good conscience, we couldn't sit back passively and watch that happen. And so in 2010, we started at North High. There had been an empty green room that had been fallow for about 10 years. So I approached the school and asked them if I could get the youth of North Minneapolis to start growing vegetables, could I use the space? They agreed, and thus was born Project Sweetie Pie. First year we had 10 gardens and 50 partners. Second year we had, first year we had 5 gardens and 50 partners. Second year we had 10 gardens, 75 partners. In the third year, we did an initiative that I call Gardens Galore, and we had 25 gardens with 150 partners. And so thus, and we started it as a way to really bring our community and the African American community into the green movement. We started it to create health and well-being in our schools, in our families, because the food that, by and large, that we were consuming were every bit as bad as one could imagine, fast food. And we wanted to think of Project Sweetie Pie as a petri dish, a way to transform culture. And so we started reaching out, formulating these partnerships, and moving forward. I believe that urban farming, local food production, is the latest iteration of the civil rights movement. And so we have been creating all of these partnerships, and about 5 years ago, I actually was one of the people responsible for creating the first urban farm legislation in the nation, with the help of Ed McDonald, who was then the head of the Minnesota Council on Black Minnesotans, Karen Clark. We created this legislation that now nonprofits, churches, for-profit businesses can actually start garden projects and teach young people agriculture. So we continue to birth ideas, to create strategies. We're working now, currently a big project that we're about to embark on is a project called JUICE, Juneteenth Urban Initiative for Creating Economic Empowerment. That works, which is a training program in young people in social enterprise. We're going to be buying a food truck and turning it into a juice bar. We also have some young people, Stephanie Lindquist, and some young people from North Minneapolis who are working on a pop-up camper that's going to be a mobile vegetable stand. And so we continue to be creative and innovative in terms of how do we create economic well-being, how do we create food sovereignty, food access, and moving forward to train and transform the face of agriculture in the state of Minnesota. Nasty. How do you spell relief? When you continue to institutionalize inequality, when you continue to create public policy and laws that legislate racial bias, bigotry, and hate, as the gavel falls, let the pendulum swing today and forevermore towards social justice and freedom. So, you know, a lot of people think that Project Sweetie Pie is about gardening and growing, and indeed it is. But people often ask me that question, Michael, are you a grower? And I say, yeah, I grow, but that's not really what I'm doing. They say, well, what do you mean by that? I said, I'm really a ag patriot. I'm using agriculture as the platform, as a vehicle, you know, a vehicle to really grow health and well-being, economic prosperity in our community. And so why are we surprised that young people turn to, you know, illicit economics, you know, dealing drugs, gangs, prostitution? Is if we haven't, as an older African-American community, if we haven't created intergenerational wealth, if we haven't created agency and institutions that they can inherit and continue to build upon. And so that's really more importantly than growing of the vegetables. You know, that's low-hanging fruit. But we're really about planting the seeds of change, getting African Americans to realize that, yes, we are descendants of slaves, but that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's something to be proud of, and something that we should really build, that agriculture is in our DNA, that we created agriculture when those sisters and brothers came from Africa with okra seeds woven into their hair and then brought those seeds to America. That's how our heritage, how profound it is that we rejuvenate and be part of the renaissance of urban agriculture, that we are part of the movement, that we are leaders in this movement, and that we bring the knowledge and the experience, and we're looking to the past, but we're moving to bring equity and inclusion as the seeds that fuel the future.
I needed to hear. I think this area, this location needed to hear, and I think the viewers need to hear, because it's important. And I think that you reminding us that agriculture started with us when we came on the shore. We brought the seeds from our motherland. We brought them here. Even the people that was here, you know, our descendants, if you want to say that, we still help develop agriculture, teaching them how to grow, how to survive in this new world. And I think that embarrassment of you're a slave, you're a descendant of slave, that really has been programmed in us. Right. And then you couple that up with the imagery of, oh, you just, you know, the way that you can make it is you can be our entertainment, sports, music, you can dance, you can bow drive, or whatever they called it, and not see images of people developing sovereignty, communities. You know, I think that really does have, in this current generation, I think that really plays a part in our conditioning of how we feel, like the self-hate, the anger, and the frustration, because we don't really see ourselves in those positions of who's educating us, who's oppressing us. We see other races and culture developing, moving forward, owning businesses in their community, and here we have to eat. We see ourselves. We have to eat a certain way, or we have to, like, our culture is just predicated on like being producers and being like so toxic and violent, and then we're criminalized on media, and it definitely plays a part in our conditioning. And we definitely treated as we're less than, I don't want to say less than human, but we're treating like we're the enemy of the state.
Enemy of the state.
We're under constant pressure.
What was that? Not public.
With Will Smith?
Public Enemy.
Public Enemy.
Menace to Society.
Menace
to society. And they have to generate. Those images. Mm-hmm. So a big part of what Project Sweetie Pie is doing is changing the mythology, overcoming the stereotypes, and really getting us to realize that we don't even know what it means to be African American, because somebody else has always been feeding us the narrative. And so it's important that we look at capturing the narrative, that we are telling our story, our food story. Our greatest wealth as African Americans, is our collective history. It's a history that we share that is a rich, chronicle of oppressed people, of a creative, innovative people. And until we assume the position, not the position that they want to relegate us to, but we create our own storylines and we bring people forward, young people, and let them kind of a renaissance. This urban farming in the local food movement is a renaissance. And so part of what I'm doing is really trying to transform, this illusion. And, it's like the Wizard of Oz. The only thing that they've got that you don't got, is we have to really be active in our own freedom. And so we are all freedom fighters. We are the latest iteration of Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, that we don't have to be embarrassed, that we don't have to assume and we don't have to integrate, we don't have to assimilate, that we have our own vibe, our own spirit, and that, that we share it with the world. I forgot to say that I was the founder of Juneteenth in Minnesota. And how do you know a people? You know a people by the foods that they eat, by the language that they speak, by the clothes that they wear. And so it is our responsibility as humans to bring our contribution to society and to acknowledge and celebrate and chronicle our contributions and our participation by the festivals that we keep. And so it's important that we continue generation after generation, that I'm just reaching out to pass a baton to you.
Yes.
You are passing it to your children.
Yes.
And the beat goes on, right?
Absolutely.
We're all part of a rhythm nation, as Janet Jackson would call it. And so all of us, I always like to say that we as African people, part of the African diaspora, until we come together globally and really start bringing together people of African descent all over the world, that's when we will really restore this beautiful vase that we once were. But we were struck to the ground, shattered in a million pieces, and cast all over the world. And so the treasure hunt for us is to come together as African Americans and as Africans around the world to really reclaim our story and reclaim our glory.